Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Two Sides of a Coin podcast. My name is Nkosi. Also on the podcast is my co-host, John. Say hi, John.
Hey everybody.
All right. So this week we're going to talk about, food and, of course, pop culture, but we're going to talk more about an event that's happening here in New York since we're a New York-based podcast, and that is New York City Comic Con. So we're going to give you a little bit of do's and don'ts. We're going to give you a little bit of maybe what you should be checking out. But before we do that, let's have John talk with you about his food stuff.
Yes, now I love when it comes to con, one thing outside of the panels that I always remember and talk about amongst my coworkers is where I went to have something to eat at. And one of the places that I'm definitely looking forward to checking out while I'm at the con this year is Jerrell's Better Burger. Jerrell's Better Burger is a vegan burger joint, 100% plant-based, from the fries to the chili and the shakes. The food is so good. I refrain from being a glutton. It has outside dining, of course. It's a very good spot to check out. It's right located in Soho. Now, the food prices is definitely affordable, especially if you're going to con, if you're staying, like you decide, oh, I'm coming to the convention and I get a hotel and I wasn't able to get closest to the con, but you get like a hotel room in Soho. This is definitely a spot you want to check out. Maybe you could definitely check out after you come from the con, get a nice burger, some loaded fries, which are $10. They have a good vegan soft served ice cream, which is $5. The oat milk milkshakes are really good. Those are $7. And they also have a novelty Jarrell's Better Burger emoji mug, which you can get for $10. I enjoyed also the one that stuck out to me the most when I went there was the OG Better Burger, which was $12. Very good, very delicious. But do not just try that one. If you're feeling a little extra hungry, definitely help yourself to the Super Better Burger instead of the OG Burger, which is $16. And trust me when I say this, if you ain't feeling OG and you want to fit for all my cosplayers, if you're feeling very super, definitely go for the Super Better Burger. Moving on, of restaurants that I'm looking forward to hanging out and checking out at the con is Beetle House, which is also located in the Lower East Side, which is located in the Lower East Side area. Beetle House is a Halloween themed restaurant and bar. It seats about 25 people at the bar and 75 for regular seating and dining. It has a strange and unusual dining experience, but it is packed full of live entertainment, very good food, very good food. One thing I enjoyed when I was there was the Edward Edward Burger Hands, which is a good burger. It's $8, and they have a house burger, which is also good, and it's also $8. Beetle House has a lot of most of the people that are servers usually are in cosplay. They also have a lot of singers in cosplay too. And I was fortunate enough to go there for my birthday one year, and I was just like definitely has to come back. So I'm looking forward to it this year for NYC Comic Con.
All right. Thank you, John, for the food places. So we'll just move on to talking about, New York City Comic Con. Me and you have been there both a couple of times. So I would before we get into it real quick, I just want to ask, what do you love the most about New York City Comic Con?
I love at first when I first went, it was the show floor, but I gotta say, I really love the panels. I really love the panels. You know, I really love the panels. I can't stress that enough because I get to see a lot of exclusive content of all my favorite shows. I get to geek out over all my female crush, celebrity crushes. Yeah.
And this is another moment of where John puts his foot in his mouth, even though John is married. So
Yes.
this is the second time this has happened. We're just going to keep a running scoreboard on this throughout the lifetime of the podcast to see how many times John is going to just put his foot in his mouth, even though he is happily married. So that's 2. So
Yeah.
go on, John. You're talking about the panels.
Yeah. I tell you, when I went to Comic Con one year and they had the Voltron panel. The Voltron panel that they had, I really enjoyed it. I gotta say that Netflix Voltron show was very good. Definitely a different look from the Voltrons I've seen in the past. Definitely a different look. And I enjoyed all 4 seasons. All 4 seasons. And another thing I definitely liked about the Comic Con, like not just like the panels, but the main stage panels were the biggest ones I really liked. So definitely, I mean, those main stage panels, man, like you feel like you're at one of those big time celebrity events where it's like you're a seat filler and then all the celebrities are in front of you, but you just security's so tight, can't even welcome and say like, don't that look good?
I mean, I can get that. Me personally, I love the panels. I love the stage floor. But I like the smaller panels. I like the more intimate ones, because at the more intimate panels, one, I'm going to be closer, and number 2, I'm going to be able to interact more with the people who are up on stage, and at those smaller intimate panels are where you can get a lot of really interesting information. That reminds me of when we went to Comic Con and you fell asleep at one of those smaller panels.
Yeah.
And I had to wake you up a couple times. And that was a really good panel. That was talking about toys and the intersectionality between video games and toys, and it had a lot of interesting stuff. I'm not sure how much you caught it because you were snoring in the panel. You remember that, John?
I do remember it. Whew, yeah. That wasn't me in my proudest of moments, especially to be at a panel that I wanted to go to.
Yeah, but that was a Sunday panel, so it was understandable. You're always flagging on the 4th day of Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, with Comic-Con coming up next week Thursday,
Yeah.
I think one of the first things that we should talk about, since you talked about panels, is, let's just talk about some of the panels that, that we're interested in looking at or checking out and stuff like that. So I'll go first with my picks. So the first one I have up there is a panel that's happening on Thursday on the main stage. It's going to be the world premiere for Aqua Teen Forever, Plantasm. It's going to be a feature-length movie, because I love the show Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Loved it when it was.
Show. I saw the trailer that they post. I saw one of the trailers on YouTube, and I was like, "Wow!"
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I loved it when it was on TV. I can't wait to see what a feature-length film they're gonna do with Frylock and Master Shake and Meatwad, and also Carl. I love the implications because they're gonna be fighting their overlord, their corporate overlord, which is called Amazon, which is a very obvious pun on Amazon. It looks like it's gonna be really, really interesting. They brought back all the original voices, it looks like.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, especially when it's so late. If you don't know this about New York City Comic Con, it's that the later the panel is on the main stage, the more opportunity there is going to be that they're going to show you a significant part of the movie or film or TV show that they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one's the world premiere, so obviously they're going to show you the movie that won't come out until November. But I remember last year at the Ghostbusters panel, they dropped the Ghostbusters movie on everybody. So, just keep that in mind when you're planning your panels. But yeah, I'm really interested in that. On Friday, they're going to have the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and Wheel of Time panel. That one I'm interested in. That's going to be like a 2-hour panel. So, some of the cast is going to be there. They're going to talk about some of the things with, Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power. That I'm really going to be interested in seeing because, I like Lord of the Rings. I think Rings of Power is a pretty decent show. I've just started getting into Wheel of Time. It's okay. It's not really grabbing me as of yet, but I'm only like 2 episodes in, and I got a 3-episode rule on shows.
Okay.
So, I'll see more where that goes. The next one I really am interested in, just because I'm a big old school anime fan, is the one for Robotech, A New Beginning, because this is a smaller panel that's happening on Friday early in the morning. This panel is really going to be talking about like the future of the franchise after, Crunchyroll, the Macross sequels, all that stuff. And this is what I mean when I say like smaller panels where you can get a lot of focused information.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff that's going to come from that panel. So I'm really interested in seeing what's going to happen there. And also, finally, the Star Trek panel, Star Trek Universe, that's going to happen on Saturday.
Yes, that's. I gotta say that one. I was trying to click into to reserve a seat for, and it was already sold out on tickets.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I got to see last year. That I told you, right? Last year I was able to meet George Takei.
Yeah, you went to the George Takei panel, or you went to get an autograph from him?
No, I went to get an autograph.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. That's cool. I mean, George Takei isn't going to be here, but, they've got an interesting group of people that's going to be there.
LeVar Burton.
I mean, LeVar Burton might be there.
I hope he's there.
You never know. I mean, but it is a big one. And they're going to be talking about Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Prodigy. So, that's going to be at the Empire Stage on Saturday. I highly suggest, if you can get into it, that you do get into it. And, check it out, especially if you're a Star Trek fan. John, what panels are you interested in?
Well, the panels that I was looking like that I am looking forward to is definitely the Star Trek panel because I really want to see after watching the new stuff like the Picard. I really on the Paramount streaming service. I just want to see more. I really want to see more of it. See what they got in store. So
Okay.
that's really what I'm looking forward to.
All right.
I'm really hoping I'm able to get into that panel.
Well, I hope you get into that panel too. Anything else?
No, no. Anything else really didn't really jump out to me too much this year.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna run into a lot of like when I get there this year, I'm probably gonna run into a lot of the probably see a lot of the panels that I intended to see. Like I do wanna like smaller panels, like for Crunchyroll and stuff.
So you're interested in going to the Crunchyroll panel?
Yes, definitely. If it runs in if it doesn't conflict with anything I'm going to see, hoping it doesn't conflict.
Okay. All right. Well, that kind of rolls into something else that I wanted to talk about for Comic Con, especially for people who are newer to Comic Con, who've never been to New York City Comic Con or like a big convention before. So I did want to talk about some do's and some don'ts for that, because going to your first con, we all fall prey to this, you know, and I really just wanted to talk about a couple things that you should do at Comic Con
Hmm.
and also some things that you shouldn't do at Comic Con. And most of these things are things that we both have fallen prey to. Some of
Oh
these
yeah,
are just not, some of these are just common sense.
yeah,
So, yeah, I'll just jump right into it. So, one of the first do's that I have is make sure you wear comfortable shoes. Now,
definitely.
if you've never been to the Javits Center where Comic-Con is being held, the important thing to note is that there are not a lot of places to rest. There are not
Nope.
going to be a lot of chairs. There are not going to be a lot of, stairs or places like that where you can actually just sit down and not do anything. So make sure you're wearing, comfortable shoes because you will be on your feet every minute that you are not in a panel. So make sure, if you need insoles in there, buy them insoles. Trust me,
Definitely.
you think that you're not going to really go into it, but they will save your feet because you will be on your feet from the time you get there to almost the time you leave. Second thing that you should always do is hydrate, obviously. Make sure you bring a water bottle or you have a water bottle available. They do have water fountains in the Javits Center, so you can refill your water. But, just make sure that you have something to drink. You can buy stuff from there, but it's going to be at a premium because, once you go into the Javits Center, you can't get out of the Javits Center, that kind of thing. Also, make sure that you come to Comic-Con with a plan for what you want to do.
Definitely.
Now, this wasn't so
Definitely come with a
much
plan.
this wasn't so much back when we were going to cons earlier in like 2016, 2017, but especially now, you need to make sure that you come to Comic-Con with a plan. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, at Comic-Con, most of the big panels, the main stage panels that I've talked about, there's actually a reservation system to get into those panels. So if you're not on that reserved list, while you can get in just standing online, you need to make sure that you're at the front of the line in order to get into those. So if you're just scrolling into Comic Con and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to just go into the Aqua Teen Hunger Force main stage panel, guess what? If it's fully reserved, they might only have like 100 seats left over for people just standing in line. So if you're not there, which means you might have to spend hours online just to get in to one panel, which is not a fun experience for pretty much anyone. So, you will have to wait in lines. Panels are really, really exclusive. The small ones can only fit maybe 60 to 70 people. If that, some of them will fit only 30 people. The big ones can fit hundreds of people, but at the Javits Center, it can fill up with over 10,000 people. So please keep that in mind, and that even with the low estimates, last year there were over like 30,000 tickets sold. So each day is going to be packed to the brim. Make sure that you check on the website, check for the things you want to do, have a general overall plan so that way you can fully maximize your time and enjoy it. Now, this is one for cosplayers, and I'll let John talk about it, and that is, if you do have cosplay, make sure you bring alternate clothes or repair tools.
Yes, definitely bring alternate clothes or repair tools, because one thing I've noticed is a lot of wardrobe malfunctions. There's chances of a lot of you could have especially if you have like one of those heavy type of cosplays. Yes, definitely bring repair tools. Definitely have a change of clothes and something to carry your cosplay in. Make sure if you're working with Wordula or any stuff like that, you have something where you could be able to pack it up and take it wherever you're staying at. Take it back to wherever you're staying at, and have a change of clothes. Definitely have a change of clothes. And if you're doing like makeup and everything, make sure you have backup. Some little bit small makeup kit, so you can tend to your face makeup.
Well, thanks, John. So another do that you should make sure that you do is, this is really a pro tip for people who've bought like 4-day passes, or people who bought multiple tickets like for like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or maybe even Saturday, Sunday, or stuff like that. If you only have a 1-day ticket, make sure you get whatever merch you can on the show floor. The show floor is great to walk around. I think you should always experience it every single year, because you'll never know who you'll find, what interesting things will be there. There are always interesting sights to see on the show floor. But if you bought a Sunday ticket and you have like a Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday ticket, a pro tip is, unless something is exclusive, try and wait to buy your things on Sunday. Now, why do you want to wait till Sunday? Well, here's the thing. Most exhibitors and all that stuff, they lug all their wares and equipment there. Here's a pro tip. They really don't want to lug all that stuff back. So if they brought a lot of stuff with them, if they have stuff left over and it's Sunday and they're thinking, I still have to take this stuff back, you might be able to haggle with them. I've seen it happen plenty of times where, people have gotten discounts because there's still merchandise left over on Sunday, and They really want to sell it so that way they can not go home with any of their equipment. So, yeah, I've seen it several times. My wife has done it where they've been able to get really good deals because they were able to buy stuff later on that Sunday instead of buying it during the busy moments like the Thursday, the Friday, even Saturday. Like, if you can wait till Sunday to buy your stuff, try and buy it on Sunday because, it really is going to give you the best bang for your buck. I mean, if it's something like limited edition or something like that, obviously try and buy that as soon as possible if you want it.
Yeah, definitely.
But if it's something where there's going to be a large supply, you never know. Just see if you can wait a little bit, and then you might be able to get a little bit of a deal on that merchandise. So, John, I know you had a couple more dues. You want to talk about those?
Yes. So, to piggyback, definitely also for all my beginning conners, first time conners, make sure you sign up for the con newsletter so you can also find about all exclusive panels and show floor purchases and how to get on those lines for the shows floor purchases. I mean, it was, I can't stress it. You please do that because I've gone to the show floor and seen stuff that I want to buy, and then I have a hard time buying it because I don't know how to sign up so I can get on the line. I would hear, oh, you have to have a certain wristband, or we were handing them out at this time, or you had to go online. You had to go online and sign up, but the page may not be available because you missed the opportunity when you were supposed to sign up for it. So, and the only way you would know that is by signing up for the newsletter, because the Comic Con Read Pop newsletter gives perfect information on all the panels and exclusive stuff, and they even give you heads up on exclusive stuff connected to the con, like Crunchyroll stuff, Crunchyroll discounts, and Funko Pops. I love my Funkos. I have a very good, very, 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 very slowly building collection of Funkos. Also, have safe transportation for you and your purchase con merch. You can't trust everybody in these streets. You can't, especially if you get those exclusive items or any autographs items. Yeah, have safe transportation. I mean, public transportation is good, but not the greatest. When you're carrying around something that's worth a lot of money, if you have to take an Uber, definitely take an Uber. I've taken Ubers plenty of times, even when it came to like I was going to con with friends, and they had all the equipment with their cosplay. I said, let's take an Uber, so that way you and your merch get home safe. Mine and my merch gets home safe. Also, have something to keep you entertained for the lines, because those long lines it's long. You're going to be on that line for hours, especially if you're not fortunate enough to get into the panel on the early sign up list. Definitely, I cannot stress it enough. I've gone to those to the Comic Con so many times when like last year, and I had to wait. I had to get up so early just to get on the line to enter the Javits Center, just so I can get on the line so I can get my badged in for for a panel that I wanted to go to. especially with smaller panels. If there's any smaller panels you want to go to, definitely, I cannot stress, make sure to have something to entertain you. So you have so it's not only your excitement of getting into the panel fueling you and keeping you entertained.
Well, yeah, I think that ends our do's. So, we had some do's, so now we're just going to give you some don'ts. And the don'ts aren't a lot, but they are very important. And that is, do not try to do things last minute.
Don't.
So, don't try and join a panel that's starting in 5 minutes, unless it's something where you've already got a reservation or something like that. Don't try and, get across the Javits Center with any kind of time in, less than 5 minutes, because it's going to take you, 15 or 20 because of the amount of people. Comic Con will punish you for trying to be spontaneous.
It will. It has.
Comic Con will punish you very, very hard. So that's why I say make sure you have a plan, because if you're not, you are going to have a bad time. I see it happen every single year, and you're going to have a bad time. Second thing, especially if you're in cosplay, don't bring suitcases on the show floor. Show floor is going to be absolutely packed with people. And I know you're thinking you bring that suitcase on the show floor, you might be able to socially distance from people. It's not going to help.
Nope.
It's just going to make your time harder. It's going to make everybody else's time harder. It's going to be a hassle. Do not bring any rolling luggage on the show floor. If it's on your back, that's fine. If you can carry it over your shoulder, great. If you can't do either one of those, don't bring it, because it's just going to be a liability. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to strollers, for babies, but any luggage, any rolling storage, don't do it.
Please don't. You don't want to be you don't want to be security's entertainment. Please don't. You don't want to have.
What do you mean by security's entertainment?
You don't want to have security either following you around. You don't want to have security busting your chops or anything of any sort. So please heed us on not bringing any those Rolo bags. Do not bring them. Don't. If you have something you can put, if you have a cosplay that you can neatly pack into a book bag you can put on your back, bring that or wear that. But if it's something where it takes a lot of that you may need help getting out of, definitely, I cannot stress it enough. Definitely make sure you can pack it somewhere. You can pack it in a bag that you can put over your shoulder. Do not put it in the Rolo bags. I've seen so many of my friends do that, and they have gone through punishment, brutal punishment, because they were like, oh shoot, I gotta get this off because I want to go to the show floor and catch this. But yeah, who's gonna watch your back?
Yeah, John, that's well said. And I will say this is the last don't that we have on here. This is a general don't. This is something that, I've never done and John's never done, but this is something we see happen a lot. And I'm just going to tell you right now, if you do this, you are a creep.
Right.
And there is something wrong with you.
Yes.
And that is, do not photograph cosplayers without their permission.
Exactly.
I know we're all in a public place. You're going to see a lot of cosplayers. And if you wanna just look at cosplay, That's perfectly fine. Nobody's going to stop you from looking at somebody in cosplay. If you want to take a photo, ask the person if they want to be photographed. That is standard decorum at any con. If you see a cosplayer walking around and you just look at their cosplay, that's fine. Be respectful. Don't touch them without their permission. Don't photograph them without their permission. Don't do it. Trust me. Just don't. There is no reason for you to photograph somebody without their permission, even if they are in cosplay, because cosplay is not consent to photograph.
No, it is not.
You know, it is not consent to photograph. Don't think just because this person dressed up that, oh, they want me to take a photo of them. They're not dressing up for you. They are dressing up for themselves. They're dressing up because they want to. They're dressing up because they want to display what they feel. But at the same time, do not take a photo of somebody who is not aware they are being photographed.
Yes.
That's very simple. You are a creep if you do it. Trust me, you are a creep. I've never done it.
You are a creep.
I've never had to do it. And 9 times out of 10, if you go up and ask somebody in cosplay if you take a photo with them, they'll say yes, gladly. Why not?
And
very rarely have I been told no. But you know what?
They'll actually appreciate you asking them if you can take a picture of them. They won't mind you taking a picture of them in their cosplay. They don't mind. Just don't do it without their consent. Please don't.
Like, there have been very few times where I've had somebody say, no, I can't take photos right now. And usually that was when there was somebody in cosplay and they were running to try and get into a panel that they really wanted to get into. So they're like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And what almost always happens is if I see that person after they get into their panel, they come up to me and they're like, hey, I'm sorry, I couldn't take a photo. I had to do something. I can take a photo now if you want. Like, you don't photograph or videograph or take a video of anybody without their consent.
Exactly. And don't even try to be a sneak and do with the videographing. Like, oh, I'm gonna turn my camera on and then slide it in my shirt pocket so I can record all the cosplayers. Don't do that. Please
just don't do it. Just don't do it. Nobody needs it. Nobody wants it. If you do this, you are a creep. And if you're getting mad at hearing that from me, let me be very clear. Good. That says more about you than it does about us. If you don't want to listen to the podcast anymore, I'm perfectly okay if you don't.
Right.
Like, it makes me feel better. It makes me feel better that you're not listening to the podcast, actually.
Yeah.
Like, and if you feel called out by this, then guess what? You're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
So, yes, do not photograph or take a video of somebody that you do not have their explicit permission to do that. You know, cosplayers are not your product or anything like that. They are people, so treat them as such.
Yes, treat them like you would want them to treat you. If you want them to treat you respectfully, treat them respectfully.
Exactly. You know, and I think that ends really the do's and the don'ts. Oh, actually, here's another don't that I just thought of right off the top of my head. And that is, you know, especially if you're going to the Javits Center, all that stuff, don't think that it's not going to be expensive.
Right.
I have seen this happen from time to time, and that is, cons are great. Cons are, places where people are able to connect and see people in a large environment that enjoy the same things that they enjoy. But also, make sure you have a budget.
Yes.
Don't go to Comic-Con and overspend. We see it every year, I talk from personal experience. I've done it from time to time, where I've blown through what I was going to spend because I see so much amazing stuff. Just remember, if you want to get it later, you can always get a card. Plenty of places will have websites, but you don't need to buy everything you see. Do not blow through your budget if you cannot afford it. Cons are supposed to have fun at, not for you to sacrifice your rent money at.
Exactly. Do not sacrifice your rent money at Comic-Con. Please don't.
But yeah, I think that's it for Comic-Con. John, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about in regards to Comic-Con?
To be honest, no. I think we really nailed it, especially with the respect for the cosplayers.
Yeah, we really want to nail that in.
Yeah, and especially with the budget. Well, we nailed that one too.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make sure, if you can only spend $100 total at Comic-Con, only spend that $100. You can get some great deals at Comic-Con, but trust me when I say, seeing all that stuff right at your fingertips, it gets super hard to not just pull out the credit card or the debit card and just swipe.
Right.
And it only takes a few swipes for you to go over your limit.
Oh, yeah.
You could go over your limit with one swipe.
It
can happen to anybody and everybody. Like I said, it happened to me. I went over my budget by a good $75. And that was because of Ultra Sabers being there. And I don't need to explain that to anybody. Got some high profile stuff and then got some low profile stuff. Then I won a drawing, so I got another one for free. And then you can see how quickly that went. Yep. So I speak from experience. I don't want your wallet to hurt like mine hurt. So please come with a budget.
Yep, gotta come with the budget. Can't stress that enough. Especially with if you want to get something like an autograph, come with a budget. That's why we cannot stress. I'm gonna stress to everyone, one of our dues, make sure you're on the Read Pop New York City Comic Con newsletter. Okay? Get on that. If you're listening to our podcast now, that should be what you should be doing right now. Signing up for their newsletter. So that way, if you weren't able to go this year and this year was your possible first con, next year when you come, you're going to be ready to rock and roll. And people are going to be like, wow, you are super prepared.
Yeah. So I think we got everything out about Comic-Con that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
So
and I will be definitely following these do's and don'ts. So if you see me, definitely, and you want to take a picture, definitely ask me first. Please do.
Well, we got a little bit of time left over.
Yeah.
So we don't need to go into it deeply. But, John, you said you wanted to talk about the TV show Andor, Disney Plus show. So, how are you liking it?
I'm loving Andor, to be honest. I'm loving Andor. From yeah, the first two episodes. No, I am in. Like from the first two episodes, I'm in. I mean, everything that's gone on so far, I'm not going to say any spoilers because one of the spoilers that was ruined for me, which was in the first episode, when someone had told me about Andor be with the beginning of the episode where he got in a fight with the two guys when he was looking for his sister.
Okay.
Someone dropped that down on me. I was like, why would you spoil that whole scene for me? Like, literally just ruined it.
Well,
Like, I
I
know
don't
you.
consider that. I don't consider that ruining because that happened so early in the first episode that it really that happens in like the first 10 minutes of the episode. So that didn't ruin anything with me because just because you know what's going to happen doesn't mean you know anything else that's happening after that.
Right. Felt a little ruined to me because I basically was like, I didn't want to know too much. I was just basically like, please, if you saw it, don't tell me nothing about it. I want to watch it and see everything for myself.
Okay. Well, I'm right there with you. I really do like Andor. I think with Andor, the great thing about it is that it does the thing that the movies haven't been able to do recently, and that is it expands the the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
And it expands it because we're not at Tatooine, we're not at Endor, we're not at Yavin. We are at nondescript places, nondescript planets, and yeah, they go to a big planet as well, but it makes sense in the story why you would go to that planet considering all the stuff that happens there. And I'm really liking the series. I'm also liking how it really does show that like Andor, this guy who is seemingly this dude that does all of these crazy things in Rogue One. It shows you how he gets there, but it also shows you that, he's not necessarily a really likable guy.
No.
Like, he's not necessarily a guy that you root for him because of the circumstances around him, but he himself isn't like the guy that you like, rah, rah, yeah, Andor. You're just like, oh, God, Andor.
Oh.
What are you doing, man?
Wow.
How are you getting in these situations?
Do you value your health, man?
I don't know. I think the only thing he values is his goals and nothing else. And I like how this is basically a series where it's like, this isn't a spoiler because you see this in the very first episode. So if you watch even a little bit of Andor, you're going to figure this out. Like, Andor is not a rebel at the beginning of this series. He is absolutely not for the rebellion. He's not down for any of it. Like, it shows you how this is a series that's going to show you like how Andor becomes the guy that we see in Rogue One, the guy who is absolutely down for the cause, the guy who's willing to lay down his life to, in Rogue One to get those Death Star plans, and does. Because if you haven't seen Rogue One, spoilers, he dies in it. Yep. It's a several-year-old movie. You should have seen it by now. But yeah, I mean, I also love the other characters in there. They introduce one very big character that's from the original series that now she's got speaking roles and everything like that, and I'm loving her interactions on the screen. I'm not going to spoil who it is. But but yeah, she's amazing. You know, it's a new actress playing her, but she's playing her so just, you know, A plus, mwah. Like, you know, absolutely perfect. Dylan Skarsgård is the man. He can disappear into pretty much any role and really bring that out. And that dude is working. That dude is working. So, yeah, John, you have anything else you want to say about Andor?
No, we've said it all. We have said it all.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm sorry because I called him Dylan, but it's Stellan. It's Stellan Skarsgård. And, you know, I mean, this is a dude, hey, one of those crossover dudes with Disney now because of Disney and all the stuff they have. Like, just, if you loved Dr. Eric Selvig from Thor, you're gonna love him in Andor. He is not the same dude because Stellan Skarsgård has range.
Yeah,
like a lot of range. And, you know, you're going to love him in this. And, like, really, we cannot endorse it enough. It feels like an adult Star Wars show.
Yes.
Like, more than The Mandalorian, more than Book of Boba Fett, more than Obi-Wan. This feels like a show where it's not made for children.
No.
It's made for adults. And, I mean, I guess the last thing I'm going to say about it is I also loved how they portray, like, the middle management and, like, the fringes of, like, living in this world with the Empire.
Yeah.
I really love that because, you know, it's just like when you see people who are, like, down for the cause of the Empire, like, you start to kind of understand why they're down for the cause of the Empire.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever feel bad for them, but I definitely understand it. And also this show, what I love is it punishes you if you're dumb.
Yeah.
You make a bad move, this show is gonna not slap you on the wrist. You might get knifed in the back.
Oh yes, definitely will get that. Or shot in the chest.
Or a shot in the chest. Or just watch a whole bunch of people get blown up because you couldn't leave things alone. That's why I cannot stress enough how much I love this show. It's only getting better, and I can't wait for the next episode. So, you know, if you haven't seen it, which I highly doubt, but if you haven't, go watch it. You will absolutely love it.
You definitely will.
But yeah, I think that's it for the podcast.
Yeah.
So, John, tell people where to find you.
You can find me at Fat Man Loves Anime NYC 21 on Instagram. Definitely DM me.
All right. And as I usually say, if you want to find me, please don't. But if you want to find the podcast, if you want to message us about anything, talk to us about anything like that, we're more than happy to hear from you. You can email us at twosidespodcast@gmail.com. That's TWOSIDEZ podcast@gmail.com. You can send us a tweet on Twitter with the @twosidescoin with that SIDEZ in there. Also, you can find us on Instagram at 2 sides of a coin, all one word.
Yes.
So,
all one word.
Yeah,
no
guys.
Space. No space.
Nope. All one word, no spaces. So yeah, guys. We loved having you with us. Please enjoy Comic Con if you're listening to this before or at Comic Con.
Yes.
You know, have a fun time, have a safe time, and remember, the deals will still be there after you leave.
Yes.
And always ask for permission.
Please. Always ask for permission. Don't
All
be a
right,
goof.
guys. And we'll talk to you later.